Okay, so tell me a little bit about Community Bridges Consulting Group and how it all got started.
Okay, well, first off, thank you so much, Lasso, for having me on the program. Community Bridges Consulting Group is a bespoke organization which focuses on projects that positively impact the lives of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their family members. We started around 9 years ago, and our first project was called the Stakeholder Engagement Group. And we were fortunate enough, we got some funding from the National Association of State Directors Developmental Disability Services, which is a very long acronym, NASD, to do this program where we gathered individuals with lived experience in a room, and we tried to walk them through what changes were going to be happening with Medicaid and really educate them so that they could give meaningful, constructive feedback in the systems change that was happening. So that was really the first project we had, and where we really kind of discovered our knack for really trying to educate, empower, and engage people with lived experience in public policy.
Yeah, that's cool. So, like, what kinds of services do you provide at Community Bridges Consulting Group?
We mainly do special projects. Most of them are grant based. So we tend to work not directly with provider associations or organizations, but tend to work more with things like developmental disability councils. We've worked with some national associations to do some different things. We worked with Optum Behavioral Health, which is part of United Healthcare, to develop a IDD peer mentoring curriculum. So we work with a variety of different organizations on the special projects.
Yeah. So, any kind of stakeholders that that your organization partners with closely in your efforts?
Yes. So it's really important for me as the CEO of Community Bridges to practice what we preach. So we try to include individuals with lived experience on every project team as paid contractors for their work. So in addition to, most of our projects are reaching out and helping people learn how to better advocate. So we're just automatically engaging with stakeholders like that. But for instance, one of the projects that we're helping to run right now is called the Ability Leadership Project North Carolina. And that's trains advocacy basics and fundamentals to family members, professionals, and people with IDD. And I co-direct that with my colleague, Kelly Woodall, and she's an individual with lived experience with cerebral palsy. Most of our other projects, we try to make sure we bring in individuals with lived experience, either as part of the project team, or if we're developing something afterwards, we've hired individuals to write for us. We have a couple individuals who are fantastic writers who will write articles for us or do some research. And I also have a fantastic illustrator who illustrates a lot of things for me for inclusion into, white papers or PowerPoints. So we really try to get the best and the brightest people with lived experience working with us and pay them a fair market rate, and then promote their work as well. So one of the things I always love to do is really try to promote the individuals who've helped us with projects on LinkedIn, so that they're individuals who are looking to be hired by more people. So if anyone is interested in hiring any of the contractors I've been fortunate enough to work with, they can just reach out to me and I can contact them directly with them.
Cool. So my next question here is, what kind of impact does your organization have on like the disability community and just communities as a whole?
We've been fortunate to have some really cool projects that I think have had a significant impact, particularly in North Carolina. So one of them was, we had a peer mentor training program, and we were able to run two cohorts of students through that. So about 24, 25 students, I believe. But, we're really fortunate that based on that work, you know, there's been individuals who, based on their experience in that program, have received job opportunities afterwards to work at local managed care organizations or work at local nonprofits. In addition, Community Bridges really tries to do a lot of education for individuals. So we understand that public policy can be really daunting and overwhelming. So our goal is to really try to understand what is important to the individual being served and help equip them so that they can take meaningful advocacy action on that.
Yeah. My last question here is, I know there's a lot of stigma within the disability community and things like ableism. So I'm wondering what can you sort of do to really tackle that and create an inclusive and welcoming environment for people with disabilities?
Yeah, so I've actually thought a lot about this over the past year because I've had more projects with more contractors, people with disabilities, and I've learned something from working with every single individual. I think really having open communication, being honest as an employer or an organization that's working with people with lived experience, being honest about what you know and what you don't know, and that you're open to learn more. And I think it's really kind of open communication to engage with people with IDD in a professional setting. They need to be, prepared and oriented just like any other employee. So it really is something, it's taking the time, slowing down a little bit, making sure you're on the same page, and then keeping communication open after the employment's begun.
Yeah, I think that communication is key to
Mhm.
like to for like to for to have better outcomes.
And as an ally, I've messed up, as an ally who hires people, I've messed up, but I could either let those, mess ups say, well, I'm not gonna hire, individuals with IDD or disabilities anymore. But you know what? I messed up. I need to learn from that and, kind of change the way that I structure how my management style for certain people. So I think just realizing that life is a continual learning process. And even if you work in the field as a professional, there's still so much to learn. So staying open to whatever lessons you get along the way and incorporating them into how you do your work.
Yeah, it's kind of like a learning experience because obviously everybody has biases, and you just have to learn how to sort of really reduce those biases and like be more inclusive and mindful for people with disabilities.
Exactly, exactly. And I think the other thing I like to do when we have projects is we always have like a project team or like a stakeholder team. And we make sure that those stakeholder project teams have people with lived experience. And we also try to make sure that it's varying different types of disabilities and varying ability levels. Because we want to make sure the programming that we're putting out is beneficial to all.
hmm Yeah, very important points.